Hi everyone and welcome back. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and in this particular video we are going to talk about a little different topic. This is related to Docker containers and how we can secure the containers, because for the local development and for the deployment, anyhow we are using Docker containers everywhere. Either you talk about Kubernetes, ECS, on Google Cloud, or in on AWS Cloud, where you are using Elastic Container Services on AWS, and similar ways you use containers on any other cloud platform. The most important aspect is the security of those containers, because today if you try to see the Docker Hub is actually a hub where you can actually explore all different type of images. So if I just try to just search a Node.js image, so how many images are available? If you try to see, all these are Node.js images, and there are different versions of Node.js images. And let's say if you wanted to do the development, right? So I will just try to search specific image, let's say Node 20. I mean, there are a number of Docker containers and Docker images are available, which we just pull from Docker Hub. Now, before starting and talking about all those things, first let's try to understand a little bit about Docker, right? So if you are already using Docker for your local development, then you already know about Docker architecture, that we have while we do the development, we access Docker client. Already a Docker daemon process is running on our system, and through Docker client we request to pull the image, to build the image, and to convert the image into a container. And all these things we pull from the Docker registry. Docker registry is nothing but Docker Hub maintains the Docker registry. From there you pull the image. Okay, I need Node.js image, I need a Postgres image, I need a Redis image, I need a Kafka, RabbitMQ. All these different images you can pull from Docker Hub, right? So this is your Docker host, and I mean, from Docker Hub, Docker registry, you should be able to pull the images which are public. I mean, if you manage your private registry on AWS, you can push your Docker images and you can pull from there. But for local development, let's say if I'm pulling the public images, let's say the Node.js, Postgres, all these images you can pull. So some are images are pre-built, right? Postgres, you don't need to write Docker file for it. Docker file you will be writing for your applications. Let's say you are building a Node.js app, so you will have a Docker file. You build the Docker file, you convert the Docker file. Docker host will convert the Docker file into Docker container, and containers will run your application. And you already know, when you build any Docker image is made of Docker file. Either you are writing Docker file or you are pulling that Docker image from Docker Hub. That also directly indirectly contains some Docker file, and somebody has built that image and pushed that image to the public registry so that you can pull it. So let's talk about a simple demo, and what we are going to cover in this is these. Whenever you pull any particular Docker image, either Node.js or anything, all these Docker images are exposed to the vulnerabilities. Okay, so how we can identify them and how we can secure our application which you are deploying somewhere, or either on ECS or on Kubernetes. So how we can secure? Okay, so this is ChainGuard, which I was talking about. So the whole idea of replacing the Docker Hub with a ChainGuard. So let's say I wanted to use a Node.js image. Instead of getting it from the Docker Hub, I can get it from the ChainGuard. So I can just go and search the node images. One Node.js image which you can get from the Docker Hub just by specifying the Docker file with the from node. And here, same line we can just replace with the from cgr.dev. So this is like a ChainGuard image. And we will try to understand, like, let's say I'm pulling one image from the Docker Hub and I'm pulling that same image from the ChainGuard, how ChainGuard is the lightweight and how it is secured, because the whole idea of this whole discussion is common vulnerabilities. When we are pulling the image, what are common vulnerabilities which are found, and how we can get the common vulnerabilities in any Docker image. There is already a tool provided by Docker Hub. This is Docker Scout. You can install it, and then you can just trigger the command Docker Scout quick view and the node container name, and it will give you the overall vulnerabilities exposures, like okay, what are the high, low, and medium vulnerabilities it has. Okay, so let's get started. So what we will do is we are going to do a simple demo, and in that demo we are going to have a Node.js app which is using the default node image which we pull either node 20, node 18, node. So this is a very simple example, and you can see I'm using node 18. I didn't want to use any complex Docker file with lots of instructions. Just for demo, it's a very quick and easy Docker file. So I will just use Docker Compose up. It's already occupied, so I will just do Docker Compose down. And you can see the container is started. App is listening to the port. Now there is a something called Docker Scout. Docker Scout can be used to look into, just to scan the Docker file. Okay, so we'll use that command, and how it looks like is Docker Scout Quick View Node.js. So Node.js is our container name inside which we are looking into, and it will tell us all the vulnerabilities and all. So if I wanted to look into the vulnerabilities, how many are high, low, medium, that all details will be here. You can see this is the set of vulnerabilities we found in this Docker image. Let's say if you are using this Docker image for your application, then these are the vulnerabilities are there. So how we can avoid these? The only way is using the chain guard images. So we can just migrate, or we can just use the chain guard images instead of the images we are pulling from the Docker Hub, because they are updated, they are lightweight in the size, they are updated with every possible patch, so we won't be seeing these vulnerabilities. So the target is CVE, common vulnerabilities and exposures, should be 0 for the chain guard images. So we'll just replace this with a chain guard image, and that we can get from here. So this is the Node.js chain guard image. I will just copy it, and I will update my code with this, and then I will remove the current image, and I will build the image again, and I'm using Docker Compose. So I need to clear up my containers and image, and I need to do again Docker Compose up, so I can pull this image from the chain guard and do all these things commands again, like running the scout against this image to get the vulnerabilities. Now what we will do is we will replace our image, and I have to add these additional user, because I need to create a user and add that user to the user group, so that when I'm copying the files to the container, that is allowed. Otherwise you have to actually create a user and then give a user permissions so that the user can copy the artifacts to the container. All these things, changing the permissions, are happening to this user because we have created this demo user. We are not doing things with the root user. We have to create a specific user so that we can run all the operations on the container. Otherwise you will get error while you are copying the files to the containers, like the package log file or any artifacts. Now I will just do is Docker Compose up, and we will try to create this container, and you can see it has done all these steps. I actually did rerun this, so it is quick for me. Now what we will do is we'll try to get the scout view. I'm just running a scout command on this to get the vulnerabilities of this particular image now, because this image has already updated. So it should not be having these vulnerabilities low, medium, high, or critical, because now we are using chain guard image. So this is how we are trying to take the advantage of the chain guard images provided by it. It's not only about Node.js, any particular image for Python, for Redis, Kubernetes, Redis, Postgres, MySQL, any particular image you can download, you can use from the chain guard. So we can see here no vulnerabilities package detected, and we can actually do one more command, which is nothing but get a quick overview of this particular image. And here you can see the vulnerabilities are 0. So that is really important. The size is 307, which is really not that much. If you talk about the slim images, Buster Slim images is also around 400. So it is somewhat optimized in the size also. And you can see it's not having any vulnerabilities. So that is the advantage we are getting. I can run a few more commands to see more things. So here you can see, let's do a quick view. I mean, that is the main command. After that, you can actually get quick view, everything is 0, and scout view. So this is what I wanted to show you in the demo, that now my application is using a chain guard image, and you can see my application is also running. Application is running on port 8080. That is exposed on port 80 because that is running through Docker Compose. This is the host port and this is the container port. Container is running on 8080 and the application is running on port 80 on the host. So if you want to see our application, this is our application running. So overall, what change we have done here, instead of Docker public cloud, we are pulling the image from the chain guard. That's the change we have done to add more security for our images. So overall, this chain guard provides a secure images for the development environment. For deployment, images are rebuilt daily and often patched for the security. And the major advantage is also about the image overall size, because when you build an image, it's all about how much layering you are doing on top of image. If your image is heavy, that is more exposed to the vulnerabilities. If your Docker build image size is lesser, then it is more secure. And obviously there are frequent patch are getting applied from the chain guard. So these are secure images and we can start using them for our development, for deployment platforms. So this is all about how we can achieve CVE 0, common vulnerabilities and exposures equal to 0 for whatever the production ready application we are deploying for our clients.